Good morning and welcome to the 9:30 call. We are going to do reverse. Instead of waiting to show love and appreciation in the chat toward the end, we're going to start sharing it now. For our two interns, Camille and Eisner, who are joining us today. And as part of their internship, we always invite folks to come on the 9:30 call. And as we've heard from seasoned professionals, sometimes you get nervous when you come on the 9:30 call. So we are going to greet them with love and appreciation and take a collective deep breath as we get going. I'm going to turn things over for Titus for a quick kind of like headlines about our internship program. And then I have some questions for Camille and Eisner.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Well, we love featuring our interns on the 9:30 call in our blog. We love working with interns, and it is really a joy for us to have them on our team, and we learn from them. They learn from us, obviously, but we learn a lot from them as well. And Camille and Eisner are going to share their learnings and some of their highlights from their spring internships. So we're very happy to for you to be able to hear from them. If you have any questions about our internship program, you can shoot me an email. Put my email in chat. Thanks.
Thanks, Titus. And we've had Titus present on our internship program, which we have built over the years. And I have to say, we are very good at it. We have interns from across Massachusetts and sometimes in other places. But we can do virtual, we can do in person. We're a virtual organization mostly. So that's another, I think, important part. And we're always looking for organizations who want to have interns. So if you are interested in hosting interns, because we get an overflow of applicants, just add your name or text Titus, excuse me, chat Titus, and we can connect you with folks. Okay. Camille and Eisner, the first question for the 9:30 callers is always for you to tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be in your current role. And why don't we start with Eisner and then we'll go to Camille.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Ayşenur. Actually, I'm originally from Turkey and currently a PhD student in Applied Developmental and Educational Psychology program at Boston College. I'm working with Eric Deering. Um, as my story, I can say I have always been passionate about helping people, which initially led me to study psychology. Over time, especially through my work with some NGOs, I became more passionate about child development and how early family, school, and environmental factors shape children's emotional, behavioral, and academic outcomes. Actually, that's what brought me to this my PhD program, which really combines rigorous research with real-world application. And how I heard about the strategies for children. Actually, I learned through my advisor, Eric Deering, who connected me with Titus. I'm really grateful he did. Actually, this internship has been such a meaningful experience for me. I feel that it has been a great fit with my interests. Even though this internship was primarily online, I had many opportunities to engage with work directly, actually, like attending some events, meeting professionals in the field. So I have especially appreciated how welcoming and supporting the team has been. The Actually, that's made me feel like part of early childhood policy community here in Massachusetts.
That's so great. And we'll get more into kind of your experience. I think folks have heard I also teach at Boston University and I teach an advocacy course. I've taught internship courses. And we're going to talk a little bit later about kind of what you learned through the
Mhm.
internship process that you couldn't learn in a book or through a reading. So, Camille, let's go to you. So, tell us about you, what you're studying, and how you came to strategies.
I just wanted to say hello. My name's Camille Roque, and I'm very thankful to have be on the 9:30 call today. Thank you guys for listening. And so I am a paralegal studies major at Bunker Hill Community College. I am graduating this May, actually, so this month. I'm
Woo!
very excited. I want to say that my passion for I guess just what's the word? Like legal studies started like way early. Like I always thought like, oh, maybe I want to become a lawyer, but I feel like I didn't have that self-confidence within myself. I was like, oh, maybe I'm like not smart enough to do that or so I feel like over the years, thanks to some great mentors and people in my life, I feel like I've gained that confidence within myself. And, I told myself maybe I can start off as a paralegal and then potentially, go further than what I originally thought I could go. So, yeah, and thankfully with Bunker Hill Community College, they introduced me to SFC, and it's been an amazing experience. And I've been so happy to be here and so happy to contribute. And yeah.
That's great, Camille. And I think what's been so interesting about working with Bunker Hill is we rarely have gotten students whose main focus is early childhood. And you all have brought so many different perspectives and gifts to our work. And then, as we like to say, we can always find it and make it connect to young children and families. Camille, why don't we go to you and why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of what you studied, what you explored while you were at Strategies, and maybe a couple of the examples that you were involved in.
Yeah, sure. Um, so what I studied, I guess I need to talk a little bit about my story, so I'm just gonna go really quick. But I came up with this project called ScholarCare. And the reason why I came up with it was because while I was going to school, I ended up becoming pregnant last year. And I was taking on a full course load, and it was just really hard, working full time, going to school. Um, and at some point I would even have to like bring my daughter to classes, that kind of stuff. And it just got really overwhelming and I got burned out. And this is a little personal, but around October I suffered a really big mental health emergency because of it. And I feel like once I got connected with Strategies for Children, I had that background in early childhood education where I worked at a child care center and I had my daughter and that kind of stuff. I was like, this is something that I'm really passionate about, which is the student parent. So that's what I created ScholarCare for, the student parent, basically. Um, and with the data that like I've collected, um, we've like at least me from what I've read, they are a really big population. You're talking about between 3.1 to 3.7 million student parents around the nation, um, which is a really huge number. Uh, sorry.
No, sorry, no sorries.
A good portion of of those students tend to be women, and a lot of those portion of students also tend to be people of color, POC. So when I was like doing my research and stuff, I really wanted to create something or either a foundation or a nonprofit organization that could unite community colleges because community colleges are 48% where the majority of student parents are. And that's a huge portion of the student parent population. So you already have an invisible population that is mostly concentrated in community colleges. So I wanted ScholarCare to really tackle or help community colleges. One of the things that I learned through our visit with HCC was about being family friendly versus family welcoming. And I wanted ScholarCare to help not just the individuals, student parents, with a wraparound of services, but I wanted ScholarCare to also be able to help community colleges or colleges in general become more family friendly instead of family welcoming, create those spaces that make student parents more accepted and welcome and visible instead of invisible. Um, So I during my slides, I put
Right.
in
I
a number
should
of
say Camille
resources.
created a beautiful presentation that we said we were not going to share because we wanted to have a conversation, but we will include Camille's presentation in the follow-up folder. So we'll put the link in chat where you can find that. So Camille, we appreciate that we're having a conversation and we know that you thought you were going to use your slides. So
Sorry.
nope. Nope. It's not. Camille, can you also just talk about the support? Because we've learned so much. So you kind of initiated this visit to go visit the Child Watch program at Holyoke Community College. Titus and I went along with you, and we learned so much, especially around family welcoming and family friendly. Can you also talk about the support you've received from Bunker Hill Community College?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the main things that I received from Bunker Hill Community College, which honestly, this was one of the things that really helped my mental health, was C Campus Grant. So the C Campus Grant is a federal grant that stands for Child Care Access Means Parents in School. So again, it's a federal grant that the federal government gives to any higher ed institution. It doesn't matter what kind of higher ed institution, any higher ed institution is eligible. Um, but they must have been awarded $250,000 or more in federal Pell Grants um, in order to receive it. But essentially, again, this is just a federal grant that the federal government gives to colleges to help student parents. So essentially, it's a private voucher that your school would give you, and you get to pick any child care of your choice, and the school pays for the tuition for your child care, which
Okay.
was awesome. And in my personal situation, I honestly would not have been able to graduate without it. And I wish that more higher ed institutions have this aid. As of right now, we only have 5 colleges. I can name them: Bunker Hill, Cape Cod Community College, Mount Wachusett, Regis, which is a private institution, University of Massachusetts Amherst, and Westfield State University are the only colleges right now in the state that have this grant. And when I was interviewing, Wells Herald, he made it pretty obvious that the reason why they're not awarding more aid is because simply the administrations don't care. So I wanted ScholarCare to be able to bring a light again to student parents and to uh, provide them aid and provide them help, and really get them seen and make universities see them, because they're people and they're pushing themselves really hard, and student parents are going to get burned out, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. And they're our future. We need more people to go into college. Student parents are going to college to help their families economically, so I feel like we should be able to provide all the aid that we can for them.
Thank you so much, Camille, and for sharing your personal story, which is such part of your passion. We can feel it on the call. We can feel it every day when you were working. I'll give you a chance because Camille also reached out, as she said, and interviewed folks from the Board of Higher Education and the Department of Higher Education. So we'll get to that in a minute. Eisner, tell us about you and what you explored, and maybe the event that we got to go to together.
Okay, maybe first I can share a little bit of my project.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a part of my internship, I began preparing a resource and initiative list. Firstly, focused on mental health support in early childhood settings across Massachusetts. This helped me first understand the current landscape, and from there, I conducted a gap analysis to examine how children, caregivers, and educators are or aren't being supported. Building on that, I'm now working on some policy recommendations for how mental health support can be more holistically integrated into early childhood education systems, with focusing on supporting all 3 groups. Yeah, for briefly, it is like that. And for the events, I want to share my experience. Actually, I attend Rennie Center's Condition of Education and Boston Opportunity Agenda's Birth to Aid collaborative meetings in person. Actually, these gave me a chance to to connect with people working directly in the field and better understand how policies are experienced on the ground. So it's so available for me. Yeah.
And I was at the Boston Birthday 8 meeting, and we all were kind of wandering around doing a gallery walk. And I looked over, and you were presenting. You were kind of took the initiative to kind of lead the conversation at one of the stations.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, I mean, as a PhD student, you are doing a lot of reading, you were doing a lot of listening and lectures.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about the internship experience and why that's so important that you as a PhD student get an opportunity to kind of be out in the wild world?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Firstly, actually, I learned that how complex and interconnected early childhood systems really are, and seeing how mental health, family engagement, educator well-being, and policy come together in real life has been eye-opening for me. It taught me to think more systemically and practically, something no textbook could fully convey. And one of the thing is kind of aha moment for me is realizing how differently we talk in research versus practice. In academic research and the textbook, we say things like that this factor significantly predict that outcome, something like that. But that kind of language doesn't always translate. So when I started revising my language to be clearer, more actionable, I felt more aligned with policy and advocacy work. So this shift in communication helped me to better connect my research to real world impact. Yeah.
That's great. And Camille, what about you? When you think about your kind of your studies at Bunker Hill, how did the internship kind of help you learn things in the wild world?
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with doing the research. I think the research part of it really helped me a lot, just because I feel like critical thinking and doing your own research and coming up with your own ideas and thoughts and bringing ideas of other people is like a really important skill that you will use throughout your entire life. And it's definitely something that I would love to use in my future if I attend law school. So that's definitely something I really appreciate, helping Marissa with the bill tracker. I thought that was like a really, unique experience that I really appreciate. And I think it's going to be very useful in the future. Um, yeah, I feel like, those interpersonal skills as well have been really important. I don't know if anybody can notice, but I'm very nervous right now, and I usually don't like to speak in public. But I think the more you practice, the better you become at it. So, being able to do those interviews and having those face-to-face interactions and, just even reaching out. Like I reached out to people who I would have never thought would get back to me, kind of like what you said, the Department of Higher Ed, people from the Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education, um, colleges. Like I never thought that people like that would reach back out to me and, listen to what I have to say and have me, take notes and listen to what they have to say. So yeah, so I had a great experience at SFC, and I think a lot of the lessons and a lot of the things that I have learned during this experience are really going to help me in the future.
Thanks for that. I think, and so the bill tracker is something that we do every session, and it's about tracking all the bills that we should be watching, monitoring. Um, And so thank you for folks for adding love and appreciation in the chat. Edna has a question for Eisner. I'm really impressed by everything you're doing. I know from experience how much work and persistence it takes. Congrats. Hopefully you're also taking time for yourself. So that's a good segue, Edna. So I think, as you have heard, we've had these two incredible folks on our team. And I think to double down on what Titus said, we learn from them as well. They bring such capacity to our organization, picking projects to explore, connections to make. We both have strategies has benefited from having them as part of our team. So when you think about what's next for both of you, we know Camille is graduating in May, And so, Camille, tell us what's next for you and how you kind of hope to take this experience and, kind of live it out after you leave strategies.
So the next steps right now are, I think you guys kind of know, but I applied to four-year colleges and I'm in the process of choosing one to go to for my bachelor's. And then I guess the next step after that is law school.
And what are you
So
doing this summer?
For the summer, as of right now, I actually got a job at a law firm. So I'm gonna be working as a paralegal, personal injury paralegal. And I feel like because of the work that I've done at Strategies for Children, I'm kind of leaning towards becoming maybe like a family attorney. Um, I don't know. I really liked, talking about kids and I really like this area of work. So maybe I want to do something that helps kids and especially in tough situations like, divorces and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Thanks, Camille. What about you, Eisner? What's next for you?
Probably I will continue to my research, but with a better understanding how I can apply the policy itself and yeah, how I can combine it. So yeah.
And what will you be doing this summer?
Probably I will continue working. We have some project with Eric Deering, and we will continue to work on this.
Wonderful. And what advice would you have? You both were with us for a semester, and we know colleges, the requirements for the internships are often different. So you have to come up with a schedule. Titus checks in with you once a week. You've come to so many of the 9:30 calls. I should say for 9:30 callers who've been with us, Mount Wachusett came on the 9:30 call, and we twice, and we had a a parent scholar join us, and that was one of Camille's first connections. To kind of understand and connect with that person. But what advice would you have for interns who are coming to organizations like Strategies, or even maybe students who might not be considering doing an internship? Isa, what would you share with them? What advice would you give them?
Mm, Maybe I can say that they should be more proactive. They shouldn't scare to email and try their chance because and also they should attend in-person events. It really give me a good opportunity. So yeah, I think don't scare and just email send this email.
That's right. That's right. It's often the first step. That's good
Mhm.
advice for anyone. Thank you. And Camille, what about you?
I definitely would say kind of similar to what Eisner was saying. Don't be scared. Definitely put yourself out there. Um, take advantage of the people around you because like I said, I feel like I learned a little bit of everything from like the team at SFC. And I feel like when you have people with such knowledge, it's good to just take advantage of it and like pick at their brains and really use them so that you could use, the lessons that they teach you or the techniques that, they help you with and use that and implement it in like either your everyday life or, for the future. So yeah, definitely take advantage of the people around you and your mentors and anybody who's willing to teach you something. I feel like that's super important.
Thank you both so much. And as always, keep the love and appreciation coming in the chat. And Titus, anything that you would share, any reflections about Camille Neisner or the future?
Well, we were very lucky this semester. These are two stellar interns, as you can tell from their descriptions, their presentations this morning. Not every intern gets to make as much progress as Eisner and Camille did this semester, but I think it's because of their abilities and their attitudes that they were able to push themselves, and take and just have a good opportunity here. The internships fly by. You start in January, you're over by May, and that's not a lot of time. But they did a lot of work. So thank you both.
And so we will, Camille's slides, they'll be available in our 9:30 call follow-up folder. They are Beautiful. So we'll also include them in the email for next week. And speaking of that, if you weren't with us yesterday, our email platform was down over the weekend. So Neri and I were trying to send the 9:30 call email for this week. So you may have received multiple copies as we were trying to get it to go. But it eventually did send. So we're so happy that folks joined us today. We did record this, so we'll be able to have the recording and Camille and Ister, we know you'll be going on. You're already doing great things, and you will continue to do so. We feel so grateful that you were part of our team, and you will be getting a 9:30 call mug when we see you. And just want to, express our appreciation for you, and that you came and you conquered the 9:30 call. They also have blog posts they did interviews with Alyssa, so those are available as well. And oh, not dirty calls. Mug is coveted. Um, and we will see everyone tomorrow. I will keep the chat open for 30 more seconds so you can continue to send messages of hope. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you tomorrow. And remember, Team SFC, we're staying on.